Hello and welcome everybody to this XTB market update video. My name is Walid Koudmani, Chief Market Analyst for XTB. And in this brief video, we're going to be covering, as always, the main events happening in the markets, what to keep an eye on this week from an economic calendar point of view, some of the major events, and also we're going to take a brief look at the charts to see how markets are performing at the start of this week. So quite a slow start to the week from an economic calendar point of view with just some German data, but at the same time, this is going to be a very interesting week because we have some speeches from central banks, decisions from central banks, and minutes from central banks as well. So again, the key topic of central banks continues to be a major impact on the market, and this week will be no different probably with potential volatility around those releases, which I will show you in a second here. We also have the continuation of the geopolitical tensions, which have had an impact on several commodities. Of course, as you know, oil, gas, becoming more and more in the picture as winter becomes colder and colder and the prospect of demand increase rises. And at the same time, we're going to be taking a look at the charts. Today, some decent news for Disney with the return of their old CEO, Bob Iger, who helped spur an increase in the price of the shares in the pre-market today, Monday. And also we have another situation where obviously some other assets have been moving quite heavily, and I will show you that in a minute. Crypto's still struggling, and obviously that correlation with the stock market seems to be a bit more fragile as of late. So let's just take a look briefly at the calendar for today, Monday, the 21st of November, and we're going to take a look also at some of the major events to keep an eye on during the rest of the week. So again, today, German PPI with massive drop in October. And that really was most of it. Of course, today, Sunday, the World Cup started. Today, the English team is playing. And so tomorrow we have Poland jobs data from October, Canada retail sales for September, and API report on US oil inventories. Wednesday, the Royal Bank or the Reserve Bank of New Zealand rate decision, some flash PMIs from Europe, so France, Germany, Euro area, and the UK, and as well as the US. The DOE report on oil inventories, highly followed when it comes to stocks, oil inventories, so oil stocks. And then Thursday, we have US Thanksgiving holiday with a few central bank decisions with the CBRT, so the Turkish bank, and then the Riksbank as well. Germany IFO index and ECB minutes, which will be quite followed, and ending the week on a slow note because of the Thanksgiving holiday in the US. So from a macro point of view, you can see quite a few things to keep an eye on during the rest of the week. However, slow start, but hasn't stopped moves in the markets, as I will show you here in a second. So I mentioned the news following the Disney situation. As you can see here in pre-market, jumping almost near 9% after the former chairman and CEO Bob Iger returning as chief executive after his replacement, who was handpicked by him, didn't last very long. And at the moment, this has introduced some more investor confidence in Disney as a stock. But let's take a look at some of the charts here. Let's start with Pound USD. Pound USD still managing to hold around 118. As you can see here, we've been talking about this almost every week. Still hovering in the same area, generally speaking, around 118, 117 ever since this recovery following the new government. Also, however, dollar strength has increased today. I will show you here with an overlay of the US dollar index, but Euro USD 1024, so Euro struggling quite heavily, and I'll show you here. I'll overlay a chart which you can do with the X station on this overlay function. USD IDX, which is the US dollar index, as you can see, as it rises, we have seen a pullback in the Euro USD pair, so some weakness, but also brought on by a recovery of dollar strength. If you can check here on the market analysis section, you can see US dollar trading higher against basically every currency besides the Brazilian and the ruble. Euro, more mixed performance, but negative, while the pound is more mixed and positive. And then obviously safe haven currency like yen is actually struggling today as well. So let's take a look at oil prices, commodities. When it comes to commodities, oil prices tanking the start of this week. Well, actually just starting the week basically sideways. You can see around 86.76 for Brent. Again, demand prospects remain questionable because of the also developing situation with the COVID in China. So COVID in China continues to be a big impact on the markets because China is the key importer of many raw materials, particularly that are involved in production. So could be copper, for example, or oil could have an impact. Rather, the news from China could have an impact on those commodities. And we are seeing a potential demand fall prospect from China because of the lockdowns that could then impact the price of oil. Also, WTI, similar situation. You can see here trading just below $80, $79.33, but holding around this area, which has managed to act as a support for now, and also testing the SMA 21 and the EMA 8, along with an RSI, which is actually pointing more closely towards an oversold level. When it comes to indices, let's take a look at the DAX. DAX starting the day a bit struggling, but not that bad of a performance. You can see still in this sideways trading area, which has managed to stick in this area ever since this increase towards the first part of the month. Taking a look at gold now, and actually we'll take it off the US dollar index as well. Gold struggling today, pulling back 1743, but managing to hold on this level. So if I draw a horizontal line, you can see here, potential support. Really, we would have to go back quite a bit to just find somewhere else where the price has been, because obviously this move cannot be counted, generally speaking. But at the same time, interesting level, broken through the Ishimoku cloud and then trying to head for the lower limit, but quite far away still. We'll have to see if this area holds and manages to start a rebound, or if the price continues to pull back as well. When it comes to US indices, still at the starts, you can see sideways trading, very similar situation to the DAX. If I show you again that similar down up candle, and then yes, of course, we will be following the news when it comes to any sort of news that could impact stocks in particular. But again, the general investor sentiment seems to be holding on, as you can see with the NASDAQ as well. Volatility still stable as well. Start of the week quite mixed. And US dollar index, as I showed you earlier. Bitcoin just quickly, still managing to hold above 16,000, but definitely a difficult start for the cryptocurrency, as you can see, rebounding from these lows here. Nat gas, when it comes to nat gas, actually, as we speak, we have a marked increase of about 4 or 5%. Here you can see rising after this upward gap and then trading higher now, approaching these highs from the 7th of November. And then we would have to break this upper limit basically to get to a new high. And then also you have the UK index, the FTSE. You can see testing potentially a resistance area and managing to have a decent performance today. While if we take a look at the Italian index, more negative performance, as in line with the other one. So just to recap quickly, because we did cover a lot of things. Slow start to the week from a macro point of view. We have the news from Disney, although there is going to be a lot to keep an eye on moving forward throughout the rest of the week. So keep an eye out for the central bank speeches, any geopolitical news, of course, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Chinese situation with COVID, and much more. But of course, we will be keeping you up to date here with XTB. So stay tuned with our news section and potentially any other videos. And yeah, as you can see, slow start to the week, but mixed performance. Some assets are performing better than others. It shows you that even with the lack of news, there is movement in the markets. So hopefully this video was useful. And for anything else news related, be sure to follow XTB on the socials as well as the YouTube channel. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you at the next one. My name is Walid Koudmani, Chief Market Analyst for XTB. Thank you for watching.